guys, what's going on? Tony here, CCxRC, and I'm out in the field with my Mavic Pro and some filters for it. These are Sandmarc aerial filters for your DJI Mavic Pro. This is a 4 set of them. Comes with an ND4, ND8, ND16, and these are neutral density filters. And it comes with a polarizer filter. Now the polarizer is good if you've ever worn sunglasses and you've been looking at the trees and you're like, wow, these are so colorful and beautiful, and then you take them off and it's not quite as beautiful as with the glasses on. That's kind of the effect of the polarizer filter. And so that's where that comes in handy, especially for photography, because you're not worrying about your shutter speed, and so you can pop that on and be shooting at really high shutter speeds. For video, for me, it doesn't knock down enough light, but that's where the NDs come in handy for me. So early morning, I could be shooting an ND4. As the sun pops up more, I might switch to an 8. But most of the day, I'm going to be rocking the ND16, and I'll be adjusting my ISO in order to keep my shutter speed at 1/60th of a second or 1/120th of a second. And that's based on the frame rate of the video that I'm shooting, those two numbers. So basically, you want to be at what I call double your frame rate. So if I'm shooting 4K 30p, which is one of the settings on the Mavic, I want to be shooting 1/60th of a second. So 30 frames, think 60, 1/60th of a second. If you're shooting 60 frames per second, or 1080 60p you may have heard, you'd want to be shooting at 1/120th of a second. That's tough to say. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys why that's important. I'm going to use the drone as an example. As you see the shutter speed increase, what happens to the footage? You start seeing a little bit more chop, or things like your tires look weird as cars are driving by. Where it's noticeable is on the prop spinning on your drone, which you're not going to see necessarily, but that effect is played out as you're flying because of the high shutter speed. And so you want to keep a lower shutter speed so that you get that nice smooth footage, especially when you're flying fast or low across the ground. If you're more static, you might be okay at higher speeds, or if you're kind of elevated, it might be okay. But if you're shooting maybe straight down, you might see some chop in that footage as you're flying, and you might think it's your computer lagging, but it's due to the shutter speed on your camera and what it does to motion. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. I know that might be a little confusing, but I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible for you so you can understand why these are important. These will set you back about 70 bucks, which, you know, if you've paid over $1,000 to get the drone, you should really invest another 70 to get something like these. I've been using them. I don't notice anything. You know, you're putting more glass on top of glass, and you're worried about quality and things like that. But the image that I've been seeing from these is still crisp, and the colors that I'm getting are really good. So now I'm just going to show you the effects of what they do to your image, because these are something that you should have in every toolkit. All right, guys, so probably the easiest way for me to show you the effects of the shutter is going to be using the Mavic itself, filming with my camera. So right now I'm at ISO 200, a 60th of a second, shooting 4K 30, and the aperture is at 4.5, which doesn't really matter in this scenario. But if I take the shutter speed way up there, and then I bring my ISO up to allow you to see exposed, it's probably as close as I'm going to get. There, you can see the difference in the way the propellers are showing up, and that's because of the high rate of the shutter. And so, I mean, it gets more technical than that, but visually that's the easiest way for me to show you. But that happens with movement. So as the drone is flying too, and you're flying past things, you get kind of a stuttering like this. So let me go back down to what we were at one more time, just so you can see the difference here. And so that is how smooth they look at a 60th of a second at 30 frames per second. So I say double, it's not technically double because it's a fraction, but if you're shooting at 30p, you want to be at 1/60th of a second, and if you're shooting at 60p, maybe you want to do slow-mo, maybe you want that super smooth action, then you want to be shooting at 1/120th of a second. And so I want nice fluid flight, so I want to be sitting at 1/60th of a second. Well, if you look, my ISO is all the way down at 100, and I have to be at 1/1250th of a second. If I go to 60, you can see how blown out the sky is, and even the histogram here, everything is blown out. And so we don't want that. And so what we need to do is we need to basically put sunglasses onto our image to get it down to 1/60th of a second. It says that we're at plus 1.7 on our basic exposure reading. So we want to get that down to 0. So I've got these Sandmarc filters here that they sent. There's a 4-pack. It's so sunny out here that I know that I'm going to need the ND16. So that's what we're going to put on here to try and knock down our shutter speed. All right, so we're just going to take this. It's got that little foam insert on there, and it's just going to grab right on. Here we go. All right, so I've set it up. I've got the ND on, and we're now at 1/60th of a second. You can see that we're not completely blown out like we were without it. We are also looking right into the sun. Maybe if I turn this, there we go. Now we've got blue skies over here, not directly into the sun. So we've got good exposure. So we're gonna take it up and fly with it in this setting for now for you. Alright guys, so that's a quick look at the Sandmarc filters for the Mavic Pro. There's a lot of things that I really like about these. They're very easy to put on the camera. I like the little foam insert that they've got to make it kind of grab on. They can work through startup, which is great. They Pro and con is the case. You've got a nice case that carries them, keeps them protected. The con of the case is that it doesn't fit into the Go Pack of the Mavic very easily. So if you buy the extended kit with the extra batteries and the nice bag, and it's all compact and easy to carry with you, these are something you have to carry separately. They maybe fit into, I've got them into the side pocket, but it's a pain to get them out, and so I don't actually do that. So it's one more thing to grab when I go. Luckily they do once I'm going. They fit in my back pocket, so I can keep them with me pretty easily. So it's not a huge negative. I just wish that I could get them into the package. So maybe if they were a little bit longer. So maybe I'll get my own kind of case that they'll fit in and make my own. Maybe Pelican has something I can do that'll slip into the side and hold them. So that's one little thing that I see. But for the $70 that this set runs you, I'd say it's definitely a must if you've spent this much. If you want to get that nice smooth footage, you want to be able to control the sun, these filters are very important, and you should definitely check them out. So thanks for tuning in. As always, guys, have fun RCing, have fun flying those drones, and we'll catch you next time.